It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Kyle.
Do we need to start a rally for justice for the Ada witch?
Well, this would just be like us calling Kim a witch. And that's not fair.
It's definitely not fair. Yeah, she would have been the Eatontown witch.
Wow. Oh, wow. That does. The ETW.
All right, put that on the poll. Is Kim the Eatontown witch?
I can't do that.
And Steve.
Because witches wear black, and they carry broomsticks, and they have black pointy hats, and long noses, and a wart on one side, and they say, my pretty.
In the 1800s, man suspected a woman...
that's prime witch time.
It really is. I think the 1600s were the height of witchery.
Yeah, witchery definitely dropped off in the 1700s.
Yeah.
Were the 1800s the witchery revival?
Live on tape from APS 3 point whatever, it's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Was that all from last week?
Oh, yeah.
We were
Heavy witch talk.
We were
last
witch
week.
heavy in that episode.
It just got me thinking, though, that I would love to talk with, on this podcast, someone who considers themselves
A witcher?
a witch. And maybe...
We gotta have one. I met Mormons the other day. They're basically witches.
You didn't take their picture, did you? Mormons always creep me out.
They were very, very nice people.
They're not to be confused with the ones who make the furniture.
Those are the Amish.
Okay. They both creep me out.
I believe very, very different. I don't know why I said that. I have no idea. They could be sister religions.
So I'll post that on the wall. So what you're saying is our next month or so is really filling up because we now need to find a witch
and a Mormon.
A Mormon.
Oh, do we have them on at the same time, or do they?
An Amish person.
Do they like catch on fire if they talk to each other?
Could you go back to those Mormons you talked to and see if they'll hang out with us on the podcast?
I think they absolutely would.
Younger,
older? We'll have to get them over from Green Bay, hop on the Badger, right across the big lake. You know, the lake they call Gitchigumi.
Oh, yeah, the big lake. Okay. So, knowing that you were over there.
Are we planning the first ever Steve and Kyle religious roundtable?
Oh, my God. So, witches.
Mormons.
A Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
And an Amish person.
And we have our friend Brian Krause. I'm sure he would join us to represent the Jewish population.
Do we have any like self-hating Catholics that we know or listen to? I mean, around these parts, throw a stone, hit 5 of them, and be smited by 4 of them.
All right.
Which I would love.
So safe to say plans are underway.
Yeah. I would have. Mormonism has always fascinated me, and I've read a handful of books on Mormonism.
Yeah.
Because extreme Mormonism has always not terrified me.
Well, extreme anything is terrifying.
But reading about, I forget what it's technically called, and I'm embarrassed now, about like traditional Mormons, right, compared to the offshoots.
So is that like the Latter-day Saints?
I think so. And now there's a million of them. There's so many offshoots, just like with every religion.
Yeah.
And the degrees that a lot of those people will take their religious, not fanhood, that's not the expression, but you get what I'm saying, is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying. So I would love to talk to a Mormon.
Yeah.
Love to talk to I'll leave you to the Amish people. Those really creep me out. Okay, they like share bathwater once a week. You know, take a picture, you're losing a piece of their soul.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they really make me a bit uncomfortable.
Okay.
And then we'll talk to Brian Krause, and we'll have him shout at the Catholic who hates everybody and himself or herself. Perfect. Steve and Kyle podcast.
Religious Roundtable.
The Religious Roundtable. So we'll obviously need to have all the important questions lined up. Like, who killed Jesus? Right. And then just let him shout.
Yeah, be like, were you pro or against?
And then, we obviously hit him with the hammer, and not physically.
Right.
And, covered bridges or suspension bridges. And really bring it home with the hard-hitting questions.
I'd be interested to know if anyone would be interested in listening to that. I mean, we need a reason to get us to be able to enter the podcast in the religious category at the Podcast Awards. I think that would be, I mean, that's about as good as you can get. You're talking every religion. We're not just pigeonholing ourselves into only one religion.
For two guys who, on one hand, outside of weddings, we could count how many times we've been to church in the past 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. We sure have a lot of ideas about religion.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll put it in the poll. Would you listen to the Steve and Kyle podcast, Religious Roundtable, starring and this is not a Mel Brooks joke, but starring a Mormon, a Jew, an Amish person, and a self-hating Catholic?
I mean, maybe we could incorporate that. Maybe that could be the first official episode of Worship.
Oh, so now we need to get Johnny Chef on the line because he's going to have to cook this up on the ship.
Yeah.
So we're going to need some security clearances, John.
We're going to need a ship.
And a ship.
Preferably with a podcast studio.
Built in already. Or a wide open deck on a zero wind day.
Yeah, on an aircraft carrier. Okay.
Those are the options.
We could be convinced to travel too for this. Trust us. You know, we've traveled for dumber things.
Yes. Listen, we are always in our heads and in the queue about what dumb thing we're going to do next.
We emptied the coffers to spend 1 hour and 30 minutes with a bunch of people named Kyle.
A bunch is being generous. Again, 705 other Kyles.
Just short of the record.
Just short by 50% short of what they were short by 50% last year. So you do the math.
That's one way to put it.
Just short. I think 2025 when we're back there, though, Steve. That's where it brings it.
You can count me out once again.
Together.
I've already said that numerous times. I'm not in for that.
It's going to be an abbreviated episode.
Yeah.
On that note, happy Daddy-O Day to you, Steve.
Hey, happy Daddy-O Day to you, too. Just a couple of Daddy-Os doing what Daddy-Os do.
I think we're supposed to also wish the best for people who struggle with father relationships. It feels like that's a thing that's happened in the recent years.
I think that's
and that's totally fair.
That's a very fair thing to do.
I feel weird even saying happy anything nowadays, just because at some point somebody has had a negative.
Not everybody had amazing fathers like us,
right? Hobie, Craig, bringing it together, it's not for everybody. So I understand that. So that's why we're not gonna harp on how great of dads we are, how great of dads we had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you didn't, it's a real bummer.
You want to do a sip of the old Crown Royal in honor of?
Yeah.
We don't have any cups down here, but
oh boy, so we're going right off the tap, huh? Like when we're kids and we're going straight from the hose.
I can go up and get some glasses if you want with a couple cubes of ice. You might have to.
Yours filled with water in there.
Yeah,
I was going to say
you could.
Oh, that's going to be hard to drink out of because that's going to be one of those.
Yeah, man. I'll do it right out of the lid.
Oh, right out of the. Oh boy, yeah. Feels like college.
He did this a lot in college.
Oh my god, I was such a party animal, living at home and working at 6 a.m. I mean, I was woo.
All right, let's get Can we get a glug? Oh Jesus! That might have been the best sound effect. I talked all over it.
That was beautiful. Luckily, we have multi-track. We can isolate that.
Okay.
Oh. Now, when was the last time, Steve, that you had a sip of Crown?
I mean, straight?
Yeah.
I would have been on this podcast probably, 3 months ago?
Okay. Do you have like a personal stash? Because obviously you haven't dipped into this.
No, and remember we had made the pact that we were going to have a sip every day, every time we recorded, and we didn't because our plan was to finish that in 1 year.
Oh boy, yeah, we're uphill battle. We're going to need
second half of 2024 is going to be, a little difficult.
I feel like we just need a couple glasses down here, right?
Yeah, and I think I brought them down the first time, but we didn't just want to leave them down here.
And in hindsight, maybe that's all we need to. Maybe even just Dixie cups, like plastic cups.
Do we just need a sink in here?
Okay, renovation. Yeah, I think a mini kitchenette.
Again, in the 10x9 room.
Yes. There was a time, and I don't know how many people listening to this will remember, that the Side Gig show was cooking food
Yeah.
live in studio.
That was pre-me. That was 15 plus years ago. Yeah.
I thought that was happening when I was there.
No.
Oh, wow.
I think there might have been some remnants of it left.
Not great for an audio medium.
As most things aren't.
But this sip of Crown Royal out of the cap of the bottle of Crown certainly will be.
Down the hatch.
Oh, it hits you.
Quite literally took your breath away.
Oh, boy. Happy Daddy-O's Day. Are you going to indulge?
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah, I want to get some more of those crispy sound effects. Now this is is this a liter? I don't even know.
I think it's 1.75 liters.
I know we talked about this before.
From our friend Trevor in Dixon/Burns, definitely not Nashville.
I have some questions about Trevor. Did he ever get the refund for that package he tried to send us? Did it ever make it back to him?
That's a good question. I'll have to do some follow-up on that, and I will do that.
Don't we still have the tracking number for it? Couldn't you check into it?
Yeah, it's in our messages, so I'll look into that, and then...
I'm not even pouring yet.
Oh, wow.
It sounds like a steel drum.
That was, boom, 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 boom. We need to isolate that because that's our sad sound now. Oh, wow.
I mean,
that's gorgeous.
Could it be any better than that? Okay.
So we have a lot of things, shockingly, in the hopper.
Happy Daddy-O's Day, by the way. Down the hatch.
How's that feel? How's that taste to you? Not mixed with the 7-Up that you're accustomed to.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I did not, and I'm not a whiskey person.
Okay,
so
I like. It really bit me. I like the idea of getting the next time you're at either Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, or I'm there. We'll get the little Dixie cups, like the ones that you.
Yes, the kind that Costco is using to hand out samples of drinks.
Oh
right?
yeah, perfect. All right, so the monthly shot or the weekly shot is back,
and we might have to start going to 2 a week here once we get closer to Q3, because if we're going to get that thing gone this year, we're going to have to step up our game.
Okay, all right.
You know that reminds should we bring back a deck cast? You and I hanging out on the deck, couple of mixed drinks with the Crown.
It's the time of year to do it.
The birds chirping.
Yeah. Remember we did a bunch of them during COVID.
We did a handful of deck casts, 3 season room casts, and Zoom casts and everything. We were probably one of the few who kept that thing rolling.
We did, yeah.
Just us keeping the podcast game moving along.
The only time we've had a lull in podcasts is when you had your heart boo boo.
Yes,
we didn't record for a couple weeks, or what was it, like a month, maybe a month and a half actually.
Yeah, boy, I was in the hospital for 12 days, and then we didn't record for, I would assume, 2 or 3 weeks after that. But that's really it.
How's the boo boo these days, by the way? Still ticking?
You still got healthy as a wounded horse.
Oinky's valve still.
Yes,
valving.
Yes, Oinky is still pumping blood up and down. I don't know which direction Oinky works.
Good.
Had good for 3 years. Don't even have to go back to check on the heart in terms of ultrasound stuff for a couple of years, so that's great news. And hopefully don't have to worry about getting that Oinky replaced for another 15 years or so.
Oh, really? So you'll outgrow Oinky's heart?
They start to fail. So they have to go in and either replace it or essentially go in there and place a balloon in it to pop it back open as it starts to not work properly. So,
all right.
But I wish we had a wheel right now because there's a handful of items that we need to get to.
Okay. You're talking like a prize wheel sound effect?
Yeah.
I mean, we could do, or we could, I mean, not a sound effect.
Exactly. An actual wheel, And because we have a few things we need to get to.
Yeah. What do we got? What are the options that we have?
Well, right now, we have a boatload of mail.
I think there's 5 pieces of mail there.
There's 5 pieces of mail that we need to get to. We have a couple items in my life that we need to address. Mm-hmm. One that is, I wouldn't say it's urgent, but in the next few weeks. And I'd like to bring it to your attention and ask for your advice.
Oh, good.
So I'd like to get to that.
Okay.
But we also have something that you mentioned very briefly on the way down to the studio this morning that is neither surprising and really new Because this is something I've speculated on for a while. So why don't we do one of these?
So these are all on the wheel.
Okay. So why don't we do? Well, let's pick one of them, and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
And we'll come back. We'll hit at least one more of those items. Boy, I am excited. Boy, 3 items. That's a lot.
All right. What does it say?
Steve, why does your neighborhood hate you? You mentioned this to me on the way down the steps, and I feel like I had to look at my phone to see the date because I've known this.
Like I finally came around.
You moved in, and 3 months later, you were wearing, the boob sweatshirt on your roof.
Yeah, federal boob inspector
on your roof, adjusting the antenna on the Lord's Day.
Yep. Yeah.
Which in this neck of the woods is a punishable crime.
It was the following summer that I did my best to kill every blade of grass known to man.
Yes. You've also had...
Fantastic comeback, by the way.
Wreck.
I mean, upset of the year.
Well, upset of the 5 years. You've also had Wreck pulling up in the Buick, loading up 8,000 feet of vinyl fencing.
I believe it was a town car.
You've also had vehicles strewn about the sides of the house.
Well, I mean, not really.
Just, there's been enough things that if you are, what I would say, like an uppity older person, you're a bit crotchety about the things you've seen at the Steve house.
Luckily, we've run all the old people out of town.
Well, right. Dead or moved away, and, a little more column A than column B in that regard. So what is the newest instance? What have you done? 2 weeks ago, there was a bulldozer in front of your house. Turns out not yours. Which
again, not mine.
An upset.
Right.
So what have you done in the past week?
Well, I mean, it was like
angering your cul-de-sac mates.
It was 2 things yesterday. One of them, not any of my control. One of them, 100% my control. So which one would you like first?
I'd like to hear about in your control because I have a question immediately following what happened that was in your control.
Yeah.
Before we get to the second.
All right. So yesterday, got home from my trip. I kind of have to tell them in the opposite order.
Okay. Fine.
So I got home from my my trip to Green Bay. While I was in Green Bay, my wife took the kids to her parents' house for a couple days because they live right on the beach. So the kids got some time to play in the sand and swim in the pool and all that. So I got home, and I was home about an hour to an hour and a half before they got home. The dog wasn't even here. So as you know, that's free bonus time, unlike anything else. It's very strange to experience a quiet house, but I was like, I'm going to make some lunch, maybe watch TV for 20 minutes. I walk in the door.
You're constantly thinking, like, well, they're going to be back any second now, right? So I need to appear
but I
like
knew,
I'm being productive. Right?
But I knew what time they left, and I was like, well, I know I got at least an hour or so. So I walk into the living room, and I'm just standing there like, man, what should I do? Just look out the window into the backyard. Like, man, it's a beautiful day. Maybe I'll go outside. Maybe I'll cut the grass. I don't know. Maybe wait, what the hell is that? I look over to the left. My eyes, I thought, what are my neighbors doing on top of their shed? Okay. What is that? Oh, that's one of my trees.
Oh, no.
So one of my trees in the yard fell down. Just whoop.
Had some windy days.
Tipped over.
So was this a dead tree? Like, could you tell
it was a dead tree, yeah. Okay. Fell over, landed right on my neighbor's shed.
Do you think about, like, my cousin Vinnying the tree and, like, painting it so it still looked like it was alive? Right. So that way when it does crash inevitably, you're like, oh, man, I don't know. I think it was alive last week.
No, man, it was like 40 feet tall and it had, like, one branch. I mean, it was, if you were building a log cabin, you would have had to put in no work to get this thing to fit into the house. It was straight. There were no branches. It was perfect.
Okay. So this thing... Wind hit it just right.
I guess so.
Uprooted. Boom. Over the fence. Crashed on top of a neighbor's shed. Obviously, there's multiple ways for you to react.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how the end of this interaction went. They did not come over.
Turns out they were out of town too. They've been out of town for the last few days.
Gotcha. So you have plausible deniability.
So first thing I did, I go outside, kind of survey the damage. And of course, because I'm an idiot, I walk over to the tree and I'm like, I could just lift this thing right off. No, it's a tree.
Yeah. Trees
have weight.
Yep.
So I kind of backed up 20, 30 feet, took a picture of it. First thing I did was send it to my neighbor, Kevin. And I was just like, hey, man, I just got home. We've been out of town for a couple days. This is what I saw. So I just said to him, don't worry about it. I'm going to clean it all up. And if there's any damage, I'll make it good. We'll figure it out.
Wow.
Because obviously it's my responsibility. It was a tree in my yard.
Is it?
Fell on. I think so. I mean, I'm sure I could call I guess I could call my homeowners and do a claim through them, but then my insurance goes through the roof, whatever.
If a tree falls on a neighbor's home, who is responsible?
Okay, yeah.
If the tree fell on the neighbor's home when the homeowner was trying to cut down,
nope,
that would be your responsibility. If the tree was dying, unstable, or diseased, we edit those few seconds out of the podcast.
What about fully dead?
And the homeowner knew about it, he or she could be liable if it falls over on its own.
Okay.
We have an act of God on our hands.
So legally, seems like old Kevin's on his own.
Okay, so I've got one of those legal encyclopedias, you can look up generic stuff.
Yeah.
Let me see what they recommend. Obviously, there's extenuating circumstances to every situation.
Give me the one that best portrays me in the best light.
Yeah. So who is responsible for fallen tree damage? In most states, if your tree or any part of it falls on your property and causes damage through no fault of your own, due to perhaps snow, wind, hurricane, or other so-called
acts of God,
you are not responsible.
Hey.
Your neighbors will file a claim with their own property insurer if they want to be reimbursed for the loss.
Okay.
This will likely come as a surprise to your neighbors. And I feel like surprise is being pretty generous. Surprise is doing some lifting there.
Yeah.
But the key distinction to remember is you were not at fault. Although, if it fell as a result of your negligence, like cutting it down or pulling it down without a license or whatever, then you're legally liable. Steve, I'm so sorry to Kevin.
Can you do me a favor? Screenshot that and just send it directly to my neighbor.
Oh,
say, hi, this is Steve's legal representation. Suck it.
You have a printer? I can wirelessly print this thing, and I'll just pop it right in their mailbox.
Let's just walk over.
You are off the hook. So now, without knowing how this continued in your head, I'm curious to hear how you're going to proceed going forward.
Okay. Well, looks like he's on his own.
I don't even think that's a rude thing to do.
Nope. There's zero chance that I would do that.
Ugh.
Zero chance. So here's what I did. Sent him a picture of it. And I thought his response was a little bit strange because I sent him a picture where you could clearly see it was from, 20, 30 feet away, like I said. But at least I thought you could clearly see that it was resting on the shed.
Yeah.
And so I said, I've been gone for the last 2 days, just walked in the door, looked out back and saw this. I'll get it cleaned up today. Doesn't look like there's much damage to your shed, thankfully, but I'll get a closer look at it in a bit.
Okay. So when you say resting on the shed, like it went to take a nap,
I mean,
like didn't dig a hole in the siding type of thing.
Do you want to see a picture of it?
Yeah.
I'll show you. Like I'll bring up the picture.
Yeah, but no, this will be great. We'll post this on our social media if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And say, is Steve responsible for fixing this?
So, I mean, it's clearly on his shed, right?
Honestly, though, it looks like it went to lay down to take a nap.
It does.
Oh, good night. Good night, little dead tree.
Was my description of this tree accurate?
Yeah, boy, that's 40 feet, and it is dead as a doornail.
There's not one, there's 3 little branch nubs where a branch once lived many, many years ago.
Please check out our, we'll post that on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That'll be up if you're listening to this right now.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what people think, because we read the law. You know what I would do, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We read the law.
Yeah, you're lawyering up.
Yes. I'm leaving a card in there that says F you, call your own insurer.
Like, it's safe to say you would rather spend $15,000 to $20,000 on a legal battle to save you maybe a couple $100.
Yeah, to save me talking to my neighbor initially.
So you wouldn't even reach out to the neighbor.
No.
Okay.
If they reached out to me, knock on the door. First of all, doors getting slammed in their face. I'm not saying anything without an attorney. Okay, my tree attorney. And then I'm calling my tree lawyer, and we can deal with this face to face, and then he can deliver correspondence to my neighbor officially.
Okay.
And then yes, I will take out a home equity loan to pay off my tree lawyer for the next 30 years.
So I sent this to him. He responded right away. He said, "Oh, what's funny is we have a fence guy coming Wednesday to repair the fence. They have a couple sections of fence that have, I don't know, gotten damaged somehow." So he said, "We have a fence guy coming Wednesday to repair the fence, so at least we would have been prepared for that." Yeah. Smiling, crying face. He said, "By the way, we've been out of town too." So I said, "All right, well, glad it happened now and not after you got the fence fixed, and it would have broken the fence too."
Yeah.
And then I said, "Okay, if I go in your backyard just to, take a look at it and start cleaning it up." And then he said, "I feel like you've cleaned up a couple of my messes, so don't worry about it."
Okay, so you're going to leave the tree hanging onto the shed. I love it.
So I was like, I've helped him out before. Like when they got a hot tub, I helped them get it into the yard. His wife, the battery on their car was kind of sketchy and died a couple times. So he texted me like, on a weekend, like, "Hey, can you go over and help Lindy? The car battery's dead. Can you just give her a jump? I'm not home." No problem. They've been great neighbors. And so, yeah, I've helped them out a couple times. So I thought it was really nice. And he was like, "Don't worry about it." And I'm like, to me, that was strange because
I want to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
He didn't want you
Yeah.
making it look like something maybe wasn't damaged or whatever.
Okay.
If it was.
Okay. Maybe.
So he's thinking, if Steve gets there before I'm home,
So he wants
pulls
to
the tree off, and I can't see what actually happened. And next thing I know, there's some paper mache on the top of a hole in my shed. And then you're just sitting there with your shrug.
His shed has like a sunroof in it.
Yeah. You've now painted with Crayola paints construction paper to make it look like there was in fact no hole. That obviously, I'm a cynic. That would be my thought.
So you think he wants to preserve the crime scene?
Correct. He wants to make sure that he can take proper documentation to show that you ruined his shed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess that is another option.
Yeah. That's the cynical way to look.
That I hadn't thought of. And I thought it was weird. He was being I thought he was being super cool about it, because if I got a picture of a tree laying on my garage or I'd be like, "What the hell?" By the way, if I hadn't had to get rid of my shed last year, this thing would have destroyed it.
Crashed
it would have
through
gone right through the middle of it. So he said, yeah, he was like, "Don't worry about it." I was like, "Well, I'm going to worry about it. I'm still going to." So I got the chainsaw out. I got my ladder, went over into his yard, climbed up on the roof, kind of assessed the damage, and started cutting this thing down. And I cut it all the way back to a point where I was able to push it over the fence into my yard. So there was, I looked at it a little bit further, and I saw, let's see. Yeah, there we go. So here's a close-up where you can clearly see one of what used to be a branch nubs. Yeah. It's probably 6 inches long. Boom. Right through the roof of his shed.
And if you're trying to visualize, just as a random example, that's probably a 3x5 piece of construction paper. If we were just spitballing.
Yeah. Here it is after I had removed the tree completely.
Okay.
So
some damage?
Yeah, definitely damage. And if you're standing over the hole, you can see directly, like I could see, a wagon in his shed below me. Okay. Went right through it. And so I sent him those pictures later, and immediately my phone's ringing. And it's Kevin, and I was like, uh-oh. So pick up the phone, and I was like, "Hey, man, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, you know what's crazy? In that first picture you sent, the one where it's just the tree leaning on the shed," he's like, I didn't even see the tree on the shed. I thought that you were, what I'm assuming is, I think he thought I was sending him a picture of his fence.
Yeah.
Which made me feel terrible because I don't want to be like, hey, dude, your fence is looking kind of junky.
Wobbly or whatever.
He's like, I just zoomed in on the picture. Holy crap, what happened? And I was like, yeah, what'd you think I was talking about when I was like, yeah, I'll go and fix it? He's like, I don't know, man. We're at a basketball tournament. I'm all, I'm super busy. So I told him, I was like, yeah, one of our dead trees fell over and your shed caught it.
You've already said too much.
Well, it's kind of hard to deny that in that picture.
Something happened. Your shed is damaged. We can address it through the attorneys. Bye.
So he's laughing. I'm laughing. And I was like, do you know if you have any leftover shingles or anything? Because I'm happy to, I'm going to have to go up there and fix it for him. But I gave him the option. I said, I can fix it, or you can hire somebody. I can pay for it. Just let me know what you want to do. And he's like, yep, we'll figure it out once we get home. And he couldn't have been cooler about it. So I'm assuming that in the 24 hours since then, he's lawyered up. I've obviously lawyered up. And it's going to be a bloodbath.
If you need a character witness, please give my number to Kevin.
Okay.
So if that's only the first item that you now have to find a tree attorney for.
A tree attorney.
A tree attorney. And you're saying this was the one that was in your control. Because you...
No. This one I think was out of my control. I mean, act of God. We discussed it.
I appreciate you using that language now in a public forum.
Yeah, AOG.
We're going to be researching all the proper tree attorneys going forward, so you know how to speak about trees on this podcast.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's something that you knew was dead. Obviously, you never assume that it's going to randomly uproot and tip, right?
Yeah, and it snapped off at the base, too.
So that's out of your control. So that neighbor hates you, and that's definitely going through certified male attorney language.
We're going to spend thousands trying to figure this out.
What is the item that you claim was in your control that is causing more strife? Is it on the same side? Same side of the neighborhood?
Well, I think this would be a neighborhood encompassing.
Oh, God. So you've made everybody upset. Okay. I mean, we knew it was a matter of time.
So,
right? You've now gone from, guy who wants to set up hay bales for kids to watch a crappy movie on.
Still going to happen.
I'm sure. And with attorneys present.
Summer 2025. Steve's cul-de-sac movie night. Happening.
Nobody's going to come because everybody hates you.
Oh, everyone will be there. This is going to be my redemption song.
So what did you do to make the entire neighborhood perturbed at you?
Well,
I love these stories, by the way, because they fill me with joy knowing that you're a guy who wants to be liked by your neighbors and wants to have interactions.
I value that so much.
And I couldn't be the polar opposite. I couldn't be more of a polar opposite. And so this fills my heart with joy knowing that it is really damaging your psyche that these happen.
So I was out there. Took me an hour or so to cut that 40-foot tree down into...
So this is all like the same interaction.
Well, they're related. So I cut this whole thing down. I cut it into small pieces. I stack it. And at that point, kind of sweaty. I'm outdoors. I'm like, well, I may as well just keep doing some yard tidying up. Mm-hmm. And earlier in the spring, I had just gone through the yard, collected a ton of sticks and brush and everything. And I had them all sitting out behind the shop in the backyard. And I have a burn barrel out there. So I thought, today's a good day to burn some stuff.
The terminology burn barrel in the middle of, like...
You don't like burn barrel?
No. The term makes sense for exactly what it is. That I guess I should clarify. It's so hick.
I agree.
That when you pull into the estate here, you wouldn't expect this area to have
burn
a lot
barrels.
of homes with burn barrels.
Well, say what you want about that. I tend to disagree.
I have said.
All right. Good point. So I start throwing branches, leaves, all kinds of stuff in there.
So the neighbors now know that Scumbag Steve's out for the afternoon. He's tossing newspapers, shoes, tires, trash, trees, into a barrel.
Yeah, 55-gallon burn barrel.
To burn it.
The double B. And everything's going well. Nice clean burn. The sticks are nice and dry and everything.
Clean for a barrel, just to clarify again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's not, you're getting that smell of a campfire.
Right.
But none of the smoke or anything. Until I threw in the big, 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 big pile of leaves that were nice and dry on the top, but nice and wet on the bottom. And about a minute later, I couldn't see a foot in front of my face. The smog was, or the smoke was thick. It was very thick, and it just hung in the neighborhood, drifted into the neighbors' yards.
So like a Beijing morning commute to traffic, but it's Steve's backyard.
Yeah, it was bad, like real bad.
Steve replicating the Los Angeles rush hour traffic.
Do you want to know how bad it was?
Oh my God. Hang on. Let me brace myself because I'm trying to, I have levels in my head of how bad this got, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to tamper it because I know what level 10 in my head is, did not happen.
Our neighbors across the street, the ones who we adore, we get along with them great.
Justin with a Y, Caitlin with an X, I believe.
They got a new puppy.
Okay.
And this thing is adorable. So this morning I got a text from Justin and he said, "Hey, we're out front with the new puppy if you guys want to come over and meet her." Mm-hmm. And we were like, hell yeah. I love puppies. You love puppies.
Of course.
Everybody loves.
Who would be offered an adorable puppy and say, no, thank you.
Nah.
Outside of allergies, whatever. But
no. Your neighbor says they got a new puppy. You want to come meet them. You're there. So we go out front and they're on the front lawn and those little fur balls rolling around and just doing everything that's adorable that puppies do.
Peeing on itself.
Yeah. Like chewing on your finger.
Puppy teeth, just, lightly shredding your forearms.
Adorable.
Awesome. Yes.
Adorable. Nobody's going to get mad at that. So at one point, Justin looks at me and he says, "You burning something over there?" Again, this is this morning.
So
this is
safe to say 12 to 16 hours have passed.
I was going to say this is 16 hours later.
Yes.
The fire's still raging in the burn barrel.
Good. So
and
safe
I look
to
over,
say it's turned from a fire to a hazard.
I look over at our house and there's just a cloud of smoke.
Oh my God.
Rolling up the rooftop. And I just looked back at him and I said, "Yeah, sorry about that. That's
And this is across the street. I don't know. It doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. Not necessarily the closest. Poor Kevin, who's now got a beat-up shed.
He's got a shed with a hole in it.
The Frisbowers, who, as we know, randomly spend time outside tossing discs to each other. The birding community, which is behind you.
Oh, the birders
are being bombarded with what is now a hazard.
I can't imagine a world with the birders like me in any way.
Well, we've done that for a while. Though
the burn barrel is about 6 feet from the fence line.
Okay, beautiful.
So we might be looking for a new place. Maybe a place with some acreage, or we can live out our burn barrel dreams.
It's so much like constant bits that obviously you're not intending, right? Mm. But when you're minute 10 into wet leaves in a barrel. And then you realize you now have a smog alert for the county.
Yeah.
And everybody's pointing at poor dumb Steve's house. PDS.
I don't know. I might have some plausible deniability. People know the area, but there's so much smoke. It's really hard to pinpoint.
I mean, I don't know if we have a smoke tourney. Like we do. Like we're going to have to sign up for a tree tourney.
Yeah. Maybe they can do. Maybe we can find one that specializes in both.
This is going to linger with you.
Well,
like, are you thinking about gift baskets in the mailboxes for the neighbors as an apology?
Well, hear me out. Here's the point that I'm at right now, because I still have a lot of brush to burn.
Yeah, of course. Well, of course.
Do I continue and just get it all out of the way?
Oh, God. No. You have to at least wait, I would say, a week.
Before I fire it up again?
Yeah.
But, man, it's so difficult to get such
dry brush?
Okay.
So you're content, and in your mind, you're considering going right back to the well, dumping damp stuff.
The embers are still burning. You know how hard it is to get a really good fire going?
You can't waste the good coals, right?
I thought about when I couldn't get it to start earlier, I was like, maybe I'll just go out and get one of those fire starter logs.
Yeah, to light your damp leaves on fire.
Yeah, so that's my situation. That's where I am.
Well, we've been looking for the final nail in the coffin, and glad to see the house will be on the market 30 to 60 days.
Yeah,
as the ZAC committee votes on your residency status.
we got some movement here in the ZAC.
Oh, good.
Somebody's
Dead?
no, hitting the road. The big D, not death.
Listen, you guys you're a nosy bunch over here. So next week I will be sure to follow up on how much research you've done on the ZAC housing market. So please let's not forget to get that.
I know the date that it's going on sale.
Of course you do. You're probably in a group chat. Before we get out of here, why don't we do a few pieces of these viewer mail, Steve?
Oh, yeah, we do have a lot.
Hey, folks, viewer mail time again. Oh, here's one from Sally, age 14. Dear Pig.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Third time's a charm. All right. This, I know what this is. This is from our good friends at the Bill Payment Processing Center.
BPCC? Nope.
No,
BPPC. BP, Bill Payment Processing, BPPC.
Yeah.
BPPC.
Yeah. Oh, man, I didn't do a very good job with that. Actually, no, this isn't from the Bill Payment Processing. It looks very similar.
Oh, yeah, it's the same.
To one coming from the Bill Payment Processing Center. Yeah, but it's got the return address of our good friend Trevor in Dixon/Burns.
Trevor. That is different
look
than our
at
friend
that.
Billy Staggs.
Hey, nice check. Thank you very much to our buddy Trevor for sending that along.
Doing his best.
Doing the Lord's work.
To keep us still in the red.
I know you said that we're only going to do some of these, but these have been sitting here for a week, and there's no chance that we're going to leave boxes on the table.
Please start digging into the gigantic Trevor box, because those are usually a thing.
Hold on.
You go ahead and use the opener. What I have here, Steve, is from our good friends at Sentinel Supply. Now, that's out of Wichita Falls, Texas.
Of course.
And addressed directly to us with... That is a Japanese-American soldier stamp from World War II.
All right.
Thank you for your service. World War I. Doesn't seem like World War II they were on our side.
Yeah.
Open this. This appears to be based on the address, which says stickers inside. I'm guessing it's a couple of stickers, Steve.
Could be anything, though.
Let's see what... we got the invoice in there so we can see... Oh,
What we got?
that's a lovely quality sticker.
Oh, that's beautiful.
With a outline of the United States of America and simply in the center, not Texas.
Okay.
And then Texas is highlighted. I would assume this is a pro-Texas sticker.
Yeah.
Oh, this is from our friend Sarah. Sarah in Texas.
Sarah Coffee?
I was terribly sad that I was unable to be BOG for your Kyle, Texas experience.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
As I was out of town.
Yeah.
Please accept my apologies, along with these bitchin' Texas stickers.
Let's see. Where in Texas is she from?
Does not say.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
We will add that to the sticker wall. Lovely addition.
I love it. Let me see that. Let me see it again.
While you are finishing on the Trevor Abomination, let me get this open from our good friends for sure at the BPPC, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and via our friend Billy Stacks out of upstate New York. Billy Stacks doing his service,
Absolute best.
to keep the coffers as full as they can possibly be, except for when we take commutes to Texas. So now this is the box, Steve. It felt relatively heavy for the size from our friend Trevor, who is a dear friend of this podcast in Dixon/Burns, not Nashville, and it's bubble wrapped. He does package well.
He does. Unfortunately, the USPS lets him down from time to time.
Pretty consistently.
Oh boy, it's another It's another grab bag of candy.
Oh,
which
nice.
Trevor has been known to send us.
We do love refreshing the candy ledge.
So could I interest you in a Chuckles original?
Has Trevor ever bought normal candy a day in his life? These look to be probably filled.
Like a jelly type sugar-coated candy.
Yeah.
Kind of like, is it Mike and Ike's? They're similar to Mike and Ike's, right?
Yeah. This has, like, again, that candied sugar that sprinkles on a jelly candy. Yeah, Chuckles Original. Never heard of it.
Oh, well,
fat-free, though. Good news.
Maybe I can interest you in a Reed's Root Beer wafer.
I've seen those because my son's name is Reed, and I believe my parents got those for him because he likes to see his name on things. He's a child.
Looks like you got a gift for your kid.
Well,
there you go. Take it home and be like, "Hey, buddy, forgot to..."
Just threw them all away. So.
Oh, boy, this is one... it's called Violet Crumble.
Where does he find this stuff?
It's the way it shatters that matters.
No, that's not a good thing. People actually have a slogan. That's
delicious shattering candy honeycomb.
Oh, honeycomb.
I've never heard of that as a pro for a candy bar.
I've never heard of honeycomb referred to as a candy.
You know it shatters when you eat it.
That's just what I want, not consistency. But when I bite, for multiple jagged pieces.
Oh, I think we've had these before. I'm pretty sure that Trevor has sent us these in the past. The old Goldenberg's peanut chews.
Oh, we have had the Goldenbergs. What a delight.
That's the milk chocolate variety right there.
Beautiful.
This is described as chewy honey sweetened nougat with whole roasted peanuts.
And listen, you know my thoughts.
Well, I think that the big hunk is going to change your thoughts.
Keep your peanuts away from my candy.
We all know that you like just a touch. Just a touch
Thank
of
you
pretzel.
to our friends at the Lucky Billy.
Oh, just when you thought that this product could only be consumed via beverage, it's the Yoo-Hoo Candy Bar.
Oh, good. Do you like chocolate water? How about frozen into a bar? You know, this is probably actually really good. This is a big size bar. Wow.
Okay, we're getting down to the end here. Can I interest you in a milk chocolate topped biscuit with raspberry jelly in it?
Whoa,
that's right.
God.
The Milka Choco Haffa.
What? No, first of all, you had me the first 2/3 of that. To throw raspberry jelly in there? Disgusting.
Oh, and I am curious. What is this?
Choco Java.
This is a... Okay, so we got a sign. Decoration. I'm assuming that Trevor wanted us to hang this up. This property has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places by the United States Department of the Interior.
Hey!
This will be hanging up right here in APS. What are we on? 4.0?
Yeah, we're just trying to make the history books, right? Like we already talked about, I'm definitely a part of the Hall of Fame thing that the side gig's getting, that is nominated for.
Yeah, we didn't make it.
Huh. So next year?
Yeah. I'm still holding out hope that we did make it, and it's just a big ruse that we didn't.
I was kind of booking my travel to Nashville.
Yeah, well, might want to get a refund on that. Book the insurance or something.
Well, I guess our next best hope is the Podcast Hall of Fame, where I'm hoping to be inducted for this podcast and as an early innovator.
Yeah, for riding the pine. And we have one. Do we have one more over there?
Oh yeah, we do have one more Amazon bag before we get out of here. I am late to my own get together. This is light. I'm guessing it's a sticker.
Okay, that's right. We still need a bunch.
These are also from our friend Sarah in Texas, I would assume.
Sarah.
It's part 2.
Sarah is so lovely.
A lovely Texas outline sticker.
Boy, she is pro-Texas, isn't she?
Yeah, that is does that be a possum or an opossum or an armadillo?
I believe that's an armadillo.
Armadillo, a guitar, a steer, cacti, cowboy hat, cowboy boots.
Yeah, anything on there to represent the decrepit power grid?
I was looking for anything about Kyle, Texas, and then the gathering of the Kyles, and it must have gotten lost in the printer.
Is there anything on there like abortion with a thumbs up? No?
That was the alternate sticker. That's the next package. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Billy Stacks.
Whew.
Thank you to everybody. What a mail day. My
All right,
goodness.
so we're gonna. I want to try the violet. What is it? Violet Crunchable?
Yeah, go ahead. Dig into that Violet Crumble while you hit
Violet
that outro
Crumble.
music. So everybody can indulge in that. Remember, it's the way it shatters that matters.
Oh boy, it's. They did not undersell that. It is crumbling as I open it.
Stickers, any gifts, any letters, notes, whatever you'd like to send. We always appreciate it. Love opening those. The P.O. Box, the mailing instructions are in the show notes of this very episode. Otherwise, you can message us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Please be sure to check out the pictures of Steve's damage to his neighbor's property. Love to hear people's thoughts on if Steve should be as generous as he is at this point. Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, it's like razor blades.
Yeah, the term shatter never connotes like a pleasant experience. Is there anything shattering outside of a record? That is a good thing?
This is not bad.
Not gonna believe this. Shattered my kneecap.
You gotta take a bite.
Oh boy.
Do it, man.
Violet crumble. Oh, it just looks so unappetizing.
It's wafery. It's sweet. No, you just gotta dig in, man.
Oh, that's horrific. That's an unpleasant experience from start to finish. Honeycomb. What am I, a bumblebee?
What, my Pooh Bear? It's not bad. I mean,
In
it's
the
never
pantheon
gonna.
of
It's never gonna make it to like tier 6.
No. In the pantheon of candy that Trevor has sent us. Oh, is that your tooth? It's among the middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. Thank you again, Trevor and Dixon. Everybody else who sent along stickers, checks. Thanks again. We'll be back next week with a normal full-length episode, I think.
Yeah. Talk to you then. See ya.